Thanks for joining us once again for an update from the city of New Hope. A lot happening as always in the city, and no one better to bring us what's going on than the mayor, Kathi Hemken. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
I'm just fine on this nice rainy day on Monday.
Yes, it is a little bit wet out there, and we've got some information that might involve the weather as we move along here, so be listening for that. But let's begin with elections. It is that season. Now that we're into August, a lot happening. Give us the information residents need to know about the election process right now.
Well, it seems so early, but on August 13th is the primary. And primaries are important because that really narrows the field down to who gets on the ballot. So they can vote at City Hall Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30. And then this coming Saturday, they'll be able to vote from 9 to 3. That'll be on the 10th. And on Monday, the 12th, they can vote until 5 o'clock at City Hall. After that, on the 13th, they have to go to their polling place. Now, you can also register at City Hall. Be sure you bring ID if you have a driver's license with your picture on it. If not, bring a utility bill to prove where you live and some sort of ID so that we know who you are and you can get registered as well as get absentee ballots.
And again, for residents' information, at this point, there are no city primary elections. Is that correct? But there's lots of other offices that have primary elections.
Yes, there is. There's federal and state elections that are on the primary.
All right. And the note is to this point, over 650 absentee ballots already in. So residents using that service. And again, find out more at mnvotes.org if you want to find out more about where you can vote in the city. Under community development, a lot happening here. Let's begin with the RAVE Awards. Where are we in that process right now?
Well, we got all our applications in. We scheduled July 31st to go out to view them, and it rained. And so they had to reschedule. I don't have the date when they're going out again, but I'm sure it'll be the next week or two because they really want to see those gardens when they're in full bloom.
We'll keep people up to date as that process moves along. Another note for residents is you might see a bus touring around the city in upcoming weeks. Mayor, who is on the bus and what's that for?
Well, once a year we do a bus tour. It's a way to thank our commissioners and to keep them all abreast of what is happening in the city and what the projects that have been going on. So on that bus, we'll have some elected officials, we'll have some staff explaining the projects, and then if you see this big bus driving around your neighborhood, that's what it is.
One potential stop of that tour might be over on 3840 Oregon Avenue North. This is where a park is located in the city and something interesting happening there that we've been talking about for weeks. Again, what is the update on that property within the park?
Well, that's the one that's sitting right in the middle of the park. We actually bought it and we're going to demolish it. But first, we're going to let the police department go in and do some training, and they're going to do that on the 14th of August. And then the fire department is going to do a live burn. So what that means is they have the fire department with the trucks and they set it on fire so that they can put it out. Now, before that happens, of course, the gas and electric gets turned off. They're going to leave the water on because they need that to put the fire out, of course, if they do that. In the event that gets rained out, they'll reschedule the fire burn, the live burn. But we'll give you more information as that moves along. It's really, really good training for these guys to be able to do that before they actually have to do it at an actual fire. So we're fortunate they're going to do that with us.
Let's go to scattered site housing, another big part of community development, and list a number of houses here. First is 4205 Boone Avenue. These houses are just about done, aren't they?
These are the pair that are sitting right on 42nd and Boone. The one on the corner is done and occupied. And the other one, the siding's up and they're doing some internal work on the inside. It isn't quite ready for the market yet, but they're getting very close.
Next is 4220 Nevada, and this is a property that is going to be split up, but there is a process to get that done. Is that correct?
Oh, there certainly is. So two things are happening simultaneously. One of them is staff is working on the demolition bid. So we send those bids out to teams that do the demolition of that. The other part of that is the Planning Commission is going to look at doing a lot split. They're the ones that recommend to the City Council whether or not that makes sense to do that. So they'll do that at their August 7th meeting, and then it'll come to City Hall or to the council on the 26th of August. So those things are happening simultaneously. And in the meantime, they have shut off the power and the gas and electric to that house so that it's still safe. Haven't heard whether or not they're going to do any training at that house yet,
Okay.
but we'll get back to that once we hear.
There are a couple other properties on scattered sites that they will be doing some training, and this is on the 5400 block of Virginia. Give us an update on those couple properties.
You know, this is a great opportunity for the police department too. So what happens first is the police department on the 14th of August is going to go into both of those houses and do some training. Some of that training happens at night because that's when police calls also happen at night. So they'll do the training in the house. So if you see police cars in front of those houses, that's what's happening, is that training. After that's done, both of them are going to be used for the fire department. Because they're in a busy neighborhood, I don't think they're going to do live burns on either of those houses, but that doesn't mean they can't go in and do some training inside. And again, those houses have had the water shut off, the gas and electric, so they're safe to do that training in those houses. So we're getting a lot of practice for our fire and police departments.
And one other property that's going to happen at 8024 50th Avenue, and this is a process as well where some bids are being taken and looked at right now. Is that correct?
Yep. So on this one, the demolition bids have already gone out. They went out on the 29th, and then they'll come back in and they'll come to the city council probably on the 26th also. And then we'll look and we'll pick a demolition person to come in and take the house down. Now, all of these, especially the ones in the park, we remove anything that we can use, like the washer, dryer, the microwaves, the stoves, anything that can be reused. We remove any that we donate it or we reuse it at one of our facilities. So this house is going to have that happen to it too. Once these bids come in and we demolish the property, the next thing we do is look to sell the property to a developer who will then bring some house plans in, and we'll look at those house plans. So it's quite a long process, but we're getting pretty good at it because we've done it a lot.
Number of houses in that process right now and throughout the years. One more thing with community development is the business networking group, and they have a very interesting meeting coming up this week. If you're watching it early here, we're recording on Monday. What is coming up very soon?
August 7th at 8:30 in the morning at Lynn Welding Training at 4000 Winnetka. Now, if you have any interest in going to a welding school, you'd be very well advised to go to this meeting. It's free. You don't have to be a business owner to come to that. You can just come and listen. We're going to get a little tour of the facility. We'll also talk about the cost of the program if there is a cost. So it'd be very informational to anybody that comes. And next week, when we talk, I'll bring that information so we can pass that on to people. I just want to mention a new business that's coming into New Hope. It's called Norco Precision. It's a metal fabricating company. They're on 45th and Quebec. So we keep getting new small businesses into the city, and they're always welcome here.
Fantastic. Let's go to the police department. A few updates here. Get your calendars out because we have a few dates to remind you about in just a second. But first, a meeting to tell you about that occurred. And I understand this occurs on a regular basis with the chief. Who does the chief meet with regularly?
Well, with the police chiefs of Crystal and Robbinsdale and our police chief, they meet on a regular basis because we all have the same problem. And I know when the kids were taking over the parks, it really helped that the three chiefs knew where those kids were going to go next because they watch Facebook and they could tell that, and they're helping each other a lot. So it's really beneficial to do that. The other thing that's happening with the police department on August 6th is Night to Unite, and that is pretty much sponsored by the police department. So you'll see lots of police cars going out. I go out with the city manager and the police chief, and they usually put me in the back seat because you can't open the door to get out. And I think they do that so they can keep me contained back there. So we'll go to 15 or 16 parties on that night, just wherever it is we can go. If you've asked to have us come, we can't just wander around because we'd never get home if we saw them all. Don't know how many parties there are. I'll know that next week when we get there. But Night to Night is on Tuesday. If you don't have a party in your neighborhood, see if you can find one.
All right,
The
then
other
let's go
thing,
a little later in August. We've got something coming up on the ice that involves police and fire department with a very unique name.
well, this is happening on the 25th of August at the ice arena, and the event is called Hoses and Guns. And what it is hockey players from the fire department, hoses, and hockey players from the police department, guns. They have a benefit hockey game between the two of them just for fun. And if you'd like to go and watch, bring something for the food shelf, whether it's a check
Mhm.
or just some canned goods. And all of this will go to either Near or Prism food shelves, both of which serve New Hope.
Yeah, fantastic idea. Sounds like fun. Okay, let's move to Public Works, talk about some of the things happening here. But first, a little education, because at times there are projects that I understand are out of the scope of the city doing all of the work. Tell us how that happens and how they are then resolved.
Well, we don't always have all of the equipment we need nor the expertise. So we have to go to outside contractors to do that. And two of our contractors were working on projects, and Public Works has assisted them. One of them was the water main repair on 55th in Wisconsin, and the other one was a concrete repair on 42nd in Xylon. And so what they'll do is they'll just help those contractors with the project, but we don't actually do it ourselves.
Mhm. Other things that they do that you might not know is when there's special events around the city, this is the crew that makes sure they have all of the extra things they need for an event. That happened just recently, correct?
It did. The fire department had an open house, and inside the fire station, it was just covered with picnic tables. Well, they don't just magically appear. They get there because the public works guys have put them in their trucks and delivered them and put them inside there. They also bring barricades out, trash cans, and then when the event's over, they have to take it all back to public works. So these guys are busy assisting so that the fire department looks good. A lot of times they'll bring them out to the city where we need them. So bless their little hearts for doing all that. Well, they're not doing that. They're
Mhm.
doing other stuff. Like we have a lot of emergency equipment. And so on a regular basis, they take the equipment and they start it, make sure it runs, make sure it does what it's supposed to do. And so if we do have an emergency and need that equipment, they know that it's ready and willing and working for us. They also had a bunch of broken branches on boulevard trees that they were cleaning up. And the last thing, among others, is they had to fix a drinking fountain at Meadow Lake Park by the pickleball courts. Now, all this is happening. In the meantime, they're doing things like trying to mow. In this
Mhm.
rain, they can't mow anything. It pretty much. So they go out and do some other things that they can do.
A challenging summer for that crew, no doubt. Let's move ahead to some of the projects they're working on, and there's been some challenges here as well with some of the water. First, we want to talk about the projects around Hillsborough and Flag Avenues. What is the update there?
So this is a 2024 infrastructure project. And this particular one, the Ware Coast paving has been put down, but they're not done. Once that gets put down, the next thing they do is they do some restoration work beyond the curbs. A lot of times they have to repair the grass or put the sod back down, and they do some just general cleaning up. So just because that's down, don't think that they're done. They'll be back to clean that up. They don't always get back the same day or the same week, depending on what's going on, but they will be back to clean that up. If a couple of weeks go by and they haven't, I suggest you call City Hall and ask to talk to the Public Works Director
Mhm.
and give them your name and number, and make sure that that gets cleaned up for you.
Another project they're working on that has a fancy name is seal coating and fog sealing. Mayor, we need an explanation. What is this and where is it happening?
So sometimes just the surface of the roads needs to be fixed.
Okay.
So they go in and they layer down like tar, black stuff, and then they put those little rocks on top and they roll that down. And of course, the rocks come out, they're in your yard, they're all over. And the next thing they do after they wait a week or two is they come and they put a fog seal down. And basically what that is like, think of a polyurethane on a table. They put this fog seal down, it holds the rocks in place. And at that time, they'll do a lot of the cleaning up too.
Mm-hmm. All right, so watch for that happening on some of the city streets. All right, let's move to Park and Rec, and here's where weather might play a little bit of a role in it. One thing that's happening now in this summertime is a lot of camps. Give us a list of some of the neat camps that are out there for some of the young people.
Well, there's some good news in this. Some of those camps are inside.
Yes.
So the gymnastics camp is going on So is the flag football camp and the track camp. Those last two, they're outside. But I think in the track, they probably run some of that inside in the community gym until they can get outside. But this is the week for all the camps to be going on.
And the weather unfortunately got one of the music in the parks events, but it could not stop a famous movie from running. Tell us about what happened out in the park.
Well, last Wednesday, the steel drum band was supposed to play, and of course, we know what happened on Wednesday. They got rained out. So now they're trying to reschedule. I'll bring that date to you as soon as I have it. Because the band has other dates, they just can't come tomorrow afternoon. So we have to reschedule something with them. But the next day, they showed the movie Cool Runnings, and that went off really well. So you never know. You just have to check the weather in the afternoon and see if you're going to be able to go see a movie or music in the park.
Well, here's an event that happened that they didn't care if it was raining because they got so wet anyway. Who would have known? And this is the Wet and Wild Day, and I hear reports that it went very well.
It did. West Metro Fire goes out to Valley Place Park in Crystal, and they lay down big sheets of plastic, and then they run the hoses so the plastic's wet, and the kids slide down the hill. And then the hard part is they have to walk back up the hill to slide down again. And they have a little hill for the littler kids that isn't quite so steep. I did it one year. Oh my goodness, it's kind of scary. But then I had to walk back up once. Once is enough.
Yes. Well, hats off to all that made it there. And here's another fun event that's coming up for the younger ones in the area. And this is the camps that come up, the safety camps. Tell us when these are occurring. And again, what's some of the fun that happens around those?
Well, safety camp is just what it says. It's to provide safety in everything they do. It's the 13th to the 15th of August. As of this morning, they still had openings in that camp. So if you have a child between going into the 3rd to the 5th grade, they're eligible to come to that camp. If you live in New Hope, you might be able to get some help with the cost of the camp if that's a problem. So go into City Hall, into the Park and Rec Department with ID to prove that you live in New Hope, and you might be able to get half off on the camp fee. But those camps are really, the kids just love it. So they might be able to go to the pool, and they learn water safety, they learn bike safety, they learn electrical safety, walking safety. Just if it's got safety in the name, they get it. The kids just love it. And then on the 15th, they have a dinner, and the kids get their medals, and the Lions serve a dinner to all the families and the kids.
Fantastic. Great annual event that occurs. Here's something that occurs on a regular basis as well with Park and Rec in many parts of the city is they like to get feedback. And I understand some surveys going out at this point to get some of just that.
Well, our playground has programs, and so do the softball program have. So what they do is they send out a survey to all the participants of that, and they want some feedback. What went right? What went wrong? What would you like to change? What do you think we need more of? That's the way we keep adjusting our programs to make sure they're serving the crowd that we want to serve. So please, if you get that survey, answer it and send it back because it's really important to the group that's running those.
Well, here's a sure sign that the seasons are moving along. We are going to be talking about fall leagues for a few groups of athletes in the area. Who's thinking fall already, Mayor?
Well, the Park and Rec is taking fall a lot.
Right.
So they're trying to promote the men's softball league. I think they're just looking for more teams to sign up for that league. And I understand the women's softball league is going to start this week, and they've got 12 teams already signed up. This is like, I think, the second or third year, and that seems to be going really, really well. So anyway, if you want something to do, Lighted Field or Northwood Park both have these softball games going on. They're really fun to watch. Not in the rain, though.
Something else that's happening, the city partners with Hennepin County on some of the trees that have been hit by emerald ash borer, and they're looking at a specific couple blocks. Where are they looking right now?
42nd Avenue, and they're mostly on the north side. So if you see these dead trees, they should have big orange dots or orange X's on them. I don't know what the differentiation between the two, but that means that they at least know they're there. So they've had crews going up and down the street marking these trees. Once they're all marked, then they'll go out and start taking them down. Keep in mind, though, when they do that, they're going to have to block off that north lane. And so traffic will be a little slower, but they can't have people driving both lanes when they're trying to take those trees down. So that should happen in the next couple of weeks, I would think.
All right, last couple minutes in our Park and Rec recap today. Let's go to a couple of the big facilities in town. The first is the golf course. And this first note is unbelievable of how long a group has been having a tournament, and they were back again this year at the golf course.
Well, there's something called the Roche Family Tournament, and this is their 43rd year of having this tournament. They were there on Sunday. I think that's just amazing. That's 43 years they've been having this golf tournament. So we still have leagues going on. So if you want to play, you really need to call ahead of time to see if there's an opening. And of course, there's always open golf on Saturdays and Sundays.
And something that's coming up involving grandparents. So how are grandparents getting out to the golf course, and do we know what they're doing when they're there?
Well, there's something called the Junior League, and we have a large Junior League that plays at the golf course. Well, this coming, I don't know what day it is, Tuesday, it's tomorrow, Grandparent and Parents Day with the Junior League. Now, I don't know if the grandparents and parents are being the caddies for these kids, or the kids are showing the grandparents and parents how to play golf, but these kids are really good. And it's a lot of times the grandparents and the parents just walk around with the kids, watching the grandchildren play golf.
Let's go over to the ice arena, talk about some of the activity there. And I understand the ice arena was on the international map over the past week here. This is really a spot that a lot of teams come to from out of the country.
They do. Because we have that wood dome on the north rink, it's kind of a cool deal. And because of Mighty Ducks, they've seen it. And they tell me that they like to play there because the ice is colder. And apparently when the ice is colder, you get more traction on the ice. So the under 12 and the under 14 girls were having this international cup there this last weekend.
Very
we
fun.
We also rent that space out to many groups. One of them is 8 men's groups that play there. I'm often wondering if their mothers know they're playing at that older age, but I suspect they are.
A few bumps and bruises probably as they head back to the office the next day. All right, let's head to the aquatic park. A lot of activity here. It was so hot the last week. I think everyone was at the pool, and you have some updates of times and also some dates that might be a little sad for people to hear.
They are. So Monday through Friday from noon to 8, the pool is open. Saturdays and Sundays, 11 to 7 is open. This Saturday is top time again. So that's 9:45 to 10:45, where the under 5-year-olds can come and play without the big kids being there. They also have adult water aerobics, and that's on Sunday from 7:45 to 8:30. Swim lessons are done this week for the year, and so is lap swimming and the water walking. And now the sad part. August 18th, the pool will be closed. That's the last day the pool is open. Very often people ask me, why are you closing so early? Well, the kids go back to school. A lot of our lifeguards are college students, and those kids go back to school. And even the high school kids that are working at the pool, they're getting ready to go back to school too. And so sadly to say, 18th of August, it was a great season. I'll have those numbers for you at the end of the program.
Fantastic. Yeah, some fun facts coming up in just a second. Before we get there, let's talk about the finance department for just a second and some great opportunities of bringing funds into the city from some unique sources you might not think about. What has happened recently?
Well, the finance department doesn't just pay the bills and do our payroll. They take money in. So we have something called franchise fees. When XL Energy and CenterPoint Energy use our land to either run wires or tubes or something or poles, they collect money for that, and those are called franchise fees. And we get the second quarter franchise fees just came in. They total over $302,000 for just the second quarter. So that's a pretty biggie. We also get money from the local affordable housing aid from Hennepin County, from the state of Minnesota. And that was just under $91,000. So we have money coming in from both of those sources, not just everybody's taxes.
Good to know. Couple final notes. Communications department has been busy working on the website. What was their task, and what will people see if they visit?
Well, we have fee schedules. So the fees for having inspections done, maybe, maybe the fees to go golfing, just all of the fee schedules in the city. They've revamped that website so that it'd be easier to find. If you still can't find the fee you want, please just call City Hall, tell them what you need, and they'll get you to the right person who will either walk you through it or will look online for you and tell you what that fee is. But we're trying to make it easier for people to do that at home, but not everybody has a computer and not everybody is capable of doing that. I being one of them.
There you see that website, newhopemn.gov. If you have questions, if you can't find what you're looking for, always pick up that phone. Printed publications that are coming out, another sign of fall. It is time for something new coming in the mail. That's very important, and I think it's coming this week. Is that correct?
It is. That's the fall brochure for Park and Rec. Now, remember the one from the summer with the cute little kid on it? Well, keep that for another week or so till you get the other one. I understand they're sending it to every address that's in the city. So that means if you're in an apartment, you should find one in your mailbox at the apartment as well as in the house. Please don't throw it away because there's lots and lots of good stuff in there. We'll be talking about what's in there all fall long.
Here's that guy. He's still at my office here. So this guy is about ready to retire, but keep it around. Still some useful information in there. Another note is the city services survey. Still time for people to respond, but I understand staff is busy looking at some of these surveys. Many have already come back in.
They have. Hennepin County gives us money every year to do this survey. And so it's out there. You can go online and look at it, or you go to City Hall and get a copy of it, fill it out. But the interesting part is at the end of the survey, there's a place for comments. So if you have a comment which did something right, we did something wrong, we failed somehow, or we excelled somehow, please write that in there. We need to know that. And if you need a call back, we need your phone number or at least a website or an email address so that we can send you what we did about that. We really want to know. We can't be everywhere. We expect that people will answer that survey and let us know how we're doing it. We want to make this a great city, and that's how we do it.
Final note, a couple fun facts to pass along. The mayor has some large numbers to pass along that show how much some of the facilities are used. What are the numbers of the week?
Okay, I'm going to have to look at this because they're kind of big. So, rounds of golf as of Sunday, 15,464 rounds of golf were played this year. At the pool, 36,865 guests have come to the pool, and those are paying guests. Some of them are season pass holders. Some of them are just paying each time they come, but those are pretty big numbers. And then the last thing on Wednesday, the 7th, is the Lions corn feed. So they're in the process of getting tons and tons of bags of corn, and the tables from Public Works are being brought over there under a tent. So 4:30 to 7 at that unique thrift store parking lot.
Mayor, do you have a count on the number of ears of corn that will potentially be consumed? What's your guess?
Well, last time I asked, they told me, I do know that each ear of corn has 800 kernels on it.
Wow, okay.
Go figure. Somebody counts those, I guess. I do know they bring in big sacks of corn, and they have big garbage cans that are clean, by the way, and they're hooked up to propane heaters, and that's where they cook the corn. They'll start cooking that corn about noon on Wednesday. So as much corn as you want to eat. I don't know what the fee is this year for the corn, but I do know they are also selling hot dogs, hamburgers, and ice cream.
Fantastic. All right. That happens on the 7th. So if you're watching this early, get over there, enjoy some of that fun, and support the Lions. Mayor, as always, thanks once again for the update. And again, newhopemn.gov. If you want to visit the website and find out more about things we've talked about, you can go there. Stick with us. I'll look at some events coming up in the city in just a second. Mayor, have a great week. We'll talk to you again next week.
Hi, see you then, Dave. Bye-bye.
Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.